able to participate in. My name is Nora Montañez Patterson, and I am a playwright, I am a performer, and I'm an educator. And I have the honor of being in the space with so many of these playwrights as they're expanding their writing, which is the reason why I'm calling it Expanding the Writer Within Us. As you can see, we have 6 pieces that will be presented tonight. And we will start with our first one. But I wanted to say thank you so much for being here today and supporting each other, because these stories are just magnificent to hear. And I'm so honored to have you all here today and being able to hear these out loud. So, all right. So today we have the actors, Barbara Reed, Seth Patterson, Nayeli Becerra, and Steve Spoen, who will be reading some of these characters today. Now, I believe we are all ready to go. Yes? Yes, please. Can we please silence our cell phones, just like we do in a theater? Silence our cell phones. Some of us are equity actors who need to get paid. So if you do take a picture, I only charge $20. Steve might charge, I don't know, Steve, what is your rate?
Free.
Okay. Barbara, anyone else have a rate? Wonderful. Okay. Well, tonight we are going to start with the first piece called A Short History of a Long Marriage. This is written by Lucy Rose Fisher, and we will have Barbara and Steve reading. Let's give them a warm hand. A Short History of a Long Marriage. A brief play in one act by Lucy Rose Fisher. Characters: Lucy, a short woman with ear-length silver hair, age 77. Mark, a bald-headed man with short gray hair and a small gray goatee, age 79. Setting: the story takes place over 50 plus years, beginning now and looking back over the history of a long, good marriage. An older couple sitting in their bed remembers how their love came to be and wonders how and why their love has lasted so long. Lucy and Mark are sitting in bed with their heads leaning against their pillows. Small table lamps on each side of the bed light up their books, which are propped up on their knees.
Did you take your bedtime pill, dear?
Yes, I did. You asked me 2 minutes ago.
Are you feeling chilly? You
No.
need another blanket?
No, I'm fine. Are you cold? You want me to get you another blanket?
Is the front door locked?
Yes, it's locked.
Are you sure?
Okay, I'll get up and check. It's locked, as I told you.
I guess we're a fussy old married couple now.
Oh, I suppose we are.
How did this happen? How did we get to be so old?
Well, we weren't always old. I remember the first time I saw you. Do you remember that day?
No, it was in the cafeteria at the university. I was a new freshman.
I was already a sophomore.
I was carrying my tray and it was hard to balance. I was so nervous, not sure where I should go. So I saw you sitting there and I asked you, where am I supposed to sit?
I said right here next to me.
And we started talking.
And that was that.
We were so young.
Yeah, I thought you were pretty cute. Sexy, actually.
It was all about sex, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The university is supposed to be a place of books, but really it's all about sex. There are all these sex hormones hovering in the air, androgens, testosterone, estrogen.
Yeah, it was all about sex, wasn't it? Oh, wow, those were the days.
We became a couple.
Mhm.
We were an item. We used to hold hands all around the campus, eating and talking and chewing, giggling in the library.
No, you were giggling. I was not a giggler.
Yes, you were.
Well, maybe.
It's really quick. We fell in life.
Yeah, and then we fell in love.
We were so young.
My parents were suspicious. I heard my dad say to my mom, "Well, what do we know about this girl?"
Oh, my folks too. My mother said, "You're awfully young to get so serious."
I don't think your mother liked me.
Oh, no, I think she liked you. She was just worried.
Yeah, I understand that now. But then, I was just stuck on you.
I was stuck on you too. All of a sudden, well, 3 years later, we were having a wedding.
Oh, yeah. I was in grad school then, far away, on the other side of the country. We were supposed to, well, we were separated for half a year. Did you miss me?
Yes, I bet you missed me more.
I think I did. I was pretty lonely out there by myself.
I was lonely for you. I was busy taking extra credits so I could graduate in the middle of the year so we could get married over Christmas. I'm talking loud enough, aren't I? Can't hear me? Okay. We could get married over Christmas vacation, and I was trying to plan our wedding long distance. I was drowning in a sea of details and decisions. Who to invite, what colors, what photos, what flowers. I asked your opinion on everything.
Was I helpful?
Not at all. When I asked, what do you think? Your only answer was whatever.
Sorry about that. Do you forgive me for?
Yes, I do, love. I do.
But then, did you know our wedding almost didn't happen?
What?
Yeah, don't you remember the blizzard the night before the wedding? I was driving in with my folks and we almost didn't make it.
I didn't know that at the time. By the morning, it was cold, but the sun was shining and everyone came. It was a nice wedding, a lovely wedding. My cheeks hurt because I was smiling so much.
Me too. I was really happy.
And then we were newlyweds.
Yeah, it was like playing house.
We shared everything. A bed
And bank accounts
and viruses
and bodily fluids
and food from each other's plates.
and our love and our passion.
But we had moods.
Yeah.
You were like a snake when you were angry, silent and withdrawn. It drove me crazy.
Oh, come on. I wasn't so bad. You, however, could be like a snapping turtle. You'd bite my head off if I said the wrong word.
I guess I've been pretty hard to live with sometimes.
Somehow, yeah, but we learned to adapt, to live with each other's moods.
Then it was baby time.
Oh, yes. Remember when our friends were having babies? I mean, everybody was doing it.
Yeah. So I threw away my little circle of birth control pills and we had sex with a purpose. We had a goal.
That was fun, wasn't it? And, well, it happened pretty quickly, too.
I got pregnant. Certain odors and even noises made me woozy and seasick.
Yeah, but at first, no one could tell. Your tummy looked so flat. It was our secret.
But then I got big, bigger than a Mack truck, bigger than a rhinoceros.
Yeah, you were supposed to have our baby in the middle of April, but then a week went by and then another week. And
I was late, overdue. You remember how we started to wonder, would this baby ever come?
yes. Then one night you had labor pains. Contractions hit. We rushed to the hospital. You brought your overnight bag. I brought my camera bag.
But it was false labor. We went home.
Yeah, and 2 hours later, you had those contractions again. We rushed back to the hospital with your overnight bag and my camera.
I was lying on a hospital bed with no contractions, not even a pinch or a whisper. You were next to me. Do you remember? I was lying there and thinking, will this baby ever come?
Yes, yes, I remember. So we went back home again.
And then I was in labor later that night. Really, really in labor in the middle of the night. I was up on all fours, rocking to manage the pain, which could not be managed.
Yeah, we rushed back to the hospital. No bag, no camera. You were in such pain, and I felt absolutely helpless and
A
useless.
crescendo of pain, a glare of fluorescent lights. I was in love with the smiling nurse who massaged my back. You remember her? I didn't even know her name.
Yeah, and I saw our baby come into the world. It's a boy, I was crying.
I was crying too, and the baby was crying.
Oh, that was the most amazing day of my life.
For me too. And our baby was brilliant. He knew right away how to suckle on my breast.
Yeah, but living with a baby wasn't easy. I thought it was a tough time, didn't you?
I guess so. Tough, but wonderful too. I was a mother. I wore clothes with zippers or buttons down the front. I looked at cows with kinship. We were sisters in milkship. I was taking a walk one day, pushing the carriage, when my milk began to gush. 2 round, wet moons on my peach-colored front zipper dress. Oh.
You were breastfeeding, so you had that special intimacy with the baby. It was different for me. I mean, I loved our baby, but sometimes I felt left out and nothing was the same. Our quiet and orderly life, well, it exploded. Nights and days were jumbled. Our living room was a playroom.
Then, pretty soon, our baby morphed into little boy. Do you remember how that seemed to happen all at once when we weren't looking?
Yes. He would have tantrums, remember? I would cut up a banana for him and he would scream, "No, I want my banana home."
I used to call this the Humpty Dumpty tantrum, when all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put the banana back together again.
Good one. Our little boy was growing up. Our family was like a juggling act. We were parents and we had our careers. So over the dinner table, we engaged in high-level negotiations.
Who's going to pick him up after school?
Will you buy milk on the way home?
Whose turn is it to vacuum the shag carpet?
Oh, the time went so quickly.
Suddenly, we were middle-aged. Do you remember how it just seemed to sneak up on us?
Oh, yeah. And there were good times and not so good times.
Sometimes we were together, but not really together. Each of us had a head stuffed with ideas for projects or just random thoughts.
And before we knew it, we were alone, just a couple again. Our little boy was really all grown up. He went off to the university. Our nest was empty again.
You remember when Stu and Barbara were getting divorced? It was around that time.
Yeah, it wasn't just them. A few of our friends were splitting up. It was like their marriages were flying apart.
It was painful to watch.
We were okay, but I did worry a little that this might happen to us. Did you worry?
Yeah, I worried, especially when we had a big fight. It was awful. You'd go in your study and not say a word, and I'd want to crawl into a small space and never come out.
Then one of us would say, "I'm sorry," and it would be over.
We still annoy each other,
Yeah, like when I'm driving.
and I make helpful comments. There's a stop sign. The light is turning. Watch out for that car. Even if I don't say a word, I press my foot to the floor, slamming my invisible brakes. I can't seem to help myself.
Yeah, you really drive me crazy.
I
No
know.
pun intended.
I know, and I'm sorry. We laugh about it, sort of.
I guess laughing at ourselves helps a lot.
We've had a lot of good times together.
Yeah, like our great trips. I'd love to explore the world with you.
There was one time when we were at a resort. It was a tropical country. I was sitting by the swimming pool with my glasses off, and I noticed a balding older man standing on the other side of the pool. He had a striped bathing trunks and a slightly bulging tummy. And suddenly I realized that older man was you.
Yes, yes, yes. I guess we've gotten older.
Remember what happened at our son's wedding?
What do you mean? It was a nice wedding, outdoors in the garden. We were dancing.
And the ground was covered in small stones.
Yeah, we danced and danced all night.
After the wedding, I tried to clean my shoes, which were covered with dust from the stones, but the heels and the soles were in shreds.
Yes, I remember now. I thought that was wonderful, though, that you wore out your shoes dancing at our son's wedding.
And then the grandchildren started coming.
And you get to spoil the grandchildren.
I do not spoil them. They're splendid grandchildren. They have cheeks like peaches and enough energy to light the world.
Yeah, having grandchildren does make me feel young, but still, they wear me out.
Me too.
You know, growing old together is okay. It's just fine. We're growing older, but we still have our dreams.
You encouraged me when I launched a new career as an artist at age 60. When I taught myself to paint upside down, inside out, and backwards on hand-blown glass. Thank you for that.
You really became an artist. I'm proud of you.
It's like living out my dream, but I had to be old to do it.
Well, when I was 73, I started taking cello lessons. Remember how a friend told me, you have to practice for 10,000 hours to be any good? So I guess at that rate, I'll be a good musician by the time I'm 118.
Life is fragile. You know, one day you had a fever. You were hot, then cold. You couldn't stop shaking. I took you to the hospital. You were delirious and couldn't answer simple questions. I was terrified. I might have lost you.
We've had lots of losses. That's just one thing that happens. Your parents died, then mine went. We've lost so many people who were dear to us.
Home is crowded now with our sweet ghosts. Our memories are vivid and rich.
We've been together for more than a half a century. We were so young when we met, propelled by our raging teenage hormones. How does it happen that we still love each other?
I think it's kind of a miracle that we still like each other after all these years.
Yeah, we're like barn owls or macaroni penguins. You know, those species that mate for life, like us.
Maybe it's luck or fate.
Yeah, I think we are sure, destined to be together. Kind of a mystical thing. What do you think?
I don't know. I think we've always done a lot of talking. We're good at talking. And we're good at listening to one another.
We have worked on our marriage. We've learned how to put each other first.
We've learned how to laugh at ourselves. I think that's that's a secret ingredient.
We've trained each other, and we've grown up together.
When I look at you now, I have a sense of tender trepidation. I wonder how many more years together, how many good years.
Grow, my love. The best is yet to come.
They each reach over and put their books on their night tables and turn off their lights. In the dark, Mark puts his arm around Lucy and they snuggle together under the covers.
We still got it.
End of play.
Sorry about the sound.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Steve and Barbara. All right. Next piece is called Missing Mom by Joette Nayan. The role of Megan will be played by Nayeli, and the role of Dave will be played by Seth. No.
Missing Mom, a play in one act by Joette Nayan. Characters: Dad, a man in his late 30s, the father of Megan. Megan, a tall 14-year-old girl with wet brunette curls that are always mussed. Dad and Megan are talking in the entryway of a modest home. She has just returned from swimming practice. Chief is Megan's dog and best friend. The lights come up as Megan comes into the door.
Hi, Dad. Mwah.
Hello, Megan. How was swim practice?
It was great. We're so lucky to have our own pool at our school. Seems to motivate me. And I don't want to leave the water. I'm swimming the crawl and the butterfly in the next meet.
Are you keeping up with your homework? Swimming is great, but geometry is better, especially if you want to be an architect.
Dad, I know. I'm studying. I'll make you and Mom proud. Mom will see my picture in the paper and she'll want to see me. I told her that I made honor roll and she said, I hope so. And if it doesn't continue, you won't be playing anything. Dad, why is it that Mom is never happy with me? My friend Jane's parents celebrated her 3 Bs with ice cream cake. Mom told me if I could get all the A's I got, why couldn't I get the 1 B turned to an A?
Megan, you know that it's not all about the grades, don't you? Your mother's ability to be compassionate has been consumed by her drug and alcohol abuse.
Dad, I just hated that her new husband is never home. Mom says that he has a girlfriend and that he had asked for a divorce. She said no. She told him she would call the police and report his chemical business.
You don't say. When was this? I guess it doesn't really matter.
But it does matter, Dad.
Megan, can sit down, will you? Here, sit down next to me and Chief. I have something to tell you.
What? Where's Mom? Did she back out of the pizza night again?
I actually have some bad news about your mother.
What is it now?
Megan, your mom is dead.
No.
Come over here, sweetie. I am so sorry. She died a couple days ago.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
This is so horrible. How could this possibly happen?
She had a heart attack because of some medication she took.
Like she was allergic?
No, she had a bad reaction to a prescription medicine that she mixed with alcohol.
Like she had a drink and that was it. Can that even happen?
Yes, it can, honey. I think you should call Coach Shanks and tell him you're not going to be able to come to practice until your mom's service is over.
No, I won't do that. I can't. Dad, Coach Shanks is depending
Coach
on
Shanks
me.
will understand a death in the family.
Dad, we were so lucky to get a pool at our school. This is our year. You know, Dad, it was like she didn't know us anymore anyway. We weren't part of her family anymore. We seemed not to be a part of her family anymore.
She loved you. You meant a lot to her. She just had some very serious issues that she was battling.
Once she married that new husband of hers, she never even answered my phone calls. It was like she disappeared into him. After all, I am her only natural-born child. She hasn't answered my calls in 8 months. Mom didn't love me or anyone enough to stay straight. I always loved too much. I couldn't let go and even faked it when she was high and I was with her,
Well said, Megan.
which is the worst way to be, Dad. Losing your ability to love because you're an addict, or loving someone so much you can't give up on them and you feel like a ghost.
Somewhere in the middle. Just love yourself. Let yourself love and choose wisely. You'll make mistakes, but that's okay. You're only 14.
Really, it doesn't feel like it's okay to make mistakes.
Of course it's okay. It's human. It's not the best choice, unless your marriage is terrible. You'll make some mistakes, but it'll be all right.
You mean because I can always get a divorce?
Yes, partly.
Except I didn't get a divorce. Mom did. The kids don't get a choice.
I know, honey, and I feel awful about the way the things turned out.
Megan's phone rings and she mutes it quickly.
Is that someone important?
No, yes. It's a boy.
Really? Like a special boy? Well, what's his name?
Jake, and he's really cute. He plays soccer with the Hornets, and he doesn't have a mom either.
Does he swim or play tennis? Does he treat my brown-eyed girl like a princess?
Geez, Dad. Ugh, we haven't even gone out yet. But I think we will soon. Dad? I miss Mom.
Megan's words fade away and the lights dim. End of play.
Thank you, Seth and Nayeli. And thank you, Joette. Wonderful. Now the next piece is called Sisters by Anne Winchester. The role of Sally will be played by Barbara, and the role of Alice will be played by Anne. All right, everyone, just double checking if everybody in the back can hear quite okay. Okay. Sisters, a play in one act by Anne Winchester. Characters: Sally, older sister, mid-70s, still beautiful, often sarcastic. Alice, younger sister, early 70s, slightly overweight, trying to be conciliatory. Setting: Ocean Beach. Both sisters sitting in beach chairs, staring at ocean, wearing swimsuit cover-ups.
It's nice. Not too hot. Oh, I'm quite uncomfortable. You know, I never really liked the beach, only the ocean. What? You would beg Mom to take us to the beach. You didn't want to get out of the water. Have you forgotten?
I just told you I like the ocean, not the sandy beach.
Okay, you win that one. They've always gone together for me, but we've never been much alike. That's true about everything. You love ice cream. I can't bear it. The only reason you really wanted to come to the beach is so you could get ice cream from the cart. I'm looking at you now. I think you might be better off if you eat less.
Thanks, Sally. You always been so nice to me. My truth-telling older sister. We see each other so rarely. Do you prepare by coming up with something to make me feel bad?
No, I don't plan ahead. I'm afraid to bring out the worst in me. I wonder why.
Do you have any idea?
No, not a clue.
Well, I've thought about it lots through the years, and maybe your memory really is going. If you don't remember your childhood,
Well, it's obvious you're eager to tell me your story, your theory. What is it? What is it?
I've always felt bad about it. Did Mom ever talk to you about how Dad adored you? Didn't like me at all. When you were around 6, beautiful and sort of withdrawn from people, and I was a cute, funny, pudgy 3-year-old. Our Dad just stopped paying attention to you and gave it all to me.
Ridiculous.
No, there's more. Our grandfather was the same way. Gave me presents, nothing for you. Wanted me to go everywhere with him. Any wonder you didn't like me and still don't?
Don't be absurd. And even if true, that would hardly affect the way I feel about you now.
On the contrary, I think you've been hurting since I got cute.
Cute? You? Oh no, you just always wanted to be the one. Push me so you could be the first in line, and if I reacted, I would be told to be nice to my little sister. And you'd give me that sly smile. Oh yes, I remember. I never liked you. Interesting to realize that in my old age.
I'm very sure that's not true, Sally. There was a time we liked each other.
Oh, really? Once again, my memory fails me. You did enjoy being in my wedding to John. I'll give you that.
No, I'm referring to when we were quite young, before I got cute. We really liked each other, played games, school. You loved being the teacher. Me, your obedient student, was fun. You taught me to read.
If you say so.
If I tell you I'm sorry that because of me you were suddenly ignored by our dad, that all-important man in a woman's life, who never again much liked you, do you think we could ever be nice to each other? Could we be friends, at least at the time we have left?
What do you mean?
Didn't you wonder why I called you out of the blue?
Yes, I certainly did. It's unusual for us to see each other for no reason, no funeral or wedding. What if it's running out of time? I'm not planning on leaving town. Are you going somewhere?
I guess you could say that. I saw my doctor last week, had tests, got results yesterday. He thinks I have at best 6 months to live. You're the first person I've told.
I didn't expect this. I'm surprised at how sad I feel. But why me being the first to know?
Because there's no one else I need to tell how sorry I am.
Lucky you.
No. Oh, Sally, I felt guilty almost all my life because of seeing you ignored and hurt because of me.
This is a shock, to say the least. Alice, maybe I can give you the gift of guilt removal. I don't believe you caused my being a difficult person. You've never been as important as you think you are.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I had 2 husbands leave me. I don't think you can blame yourself for that.
Don't be too sure. I told Don about your little love affair with Steve. And that's when he left you. And no, I don't feel guilty about that.
Well. Miss Perfect was at it again. And you want to be friends.
Yes, I do. I don't want to die thinking my only sister and I could not make peace. When Don came on to me, I turned him down. Well, not all bad.
Oh, what a coincidence. When your dearly deceased made a pass at me, I also turned him down. So maybe we can say neither one of us is all bad.
Knowing you, Sally, I doubt what you've told me is true. I knew my husband quite well, and he frankly didn't like you.
You don't know everything, my dear, despite thinking you do. Sorry, but Pudgy may have worked attracting men at 3, but not so well at 60.
Oh, Sally, you never give up, do you? Still being beautiful at 75 hasn't made you any nicer. Maybe your beauty lets you think you can get away with anything.
And that, you may be right. The upcoming death does make me think that perhaps I have been quite wretched to you at times. Miss Know-it-all, do you think I can be nice for 6 months?
That would be a miracle, but it sure would be nice.
I certainly competed through the years. I always wanted to beat you at something. You're going to die first. Maybe I can be loving first.
End of play. Thank you, Barbara and Anne. All right. Next piece is called Major Minor. This is written by Janine Spear and Nancy Brown. The role of Jimmy will be played by Steve. The role of Mike will be played by Nayeli. And the role of Ben will be played by Seth.
No. That's okay. No. Just put you here.
Major Minor.
Just put- Yep.
a one-act play by Jeannie Spear and Nancy Brown. Characters: Jimmy, a minor bird, a medium-sized blackbird, and a yellow bill, usually in his cage. He mimics voices purchased by Pat from a Quebec pet shop and bequeathed to Ben. Pat, older Irishman who died last month. We only hear his Irish accented voice when Jimmy the bird speaks in an Irish accent. Mike, a white male in his 60s, slightly obese, gray hair, thinks literally, friends with Ben and Pat, robbed banks together. Ben, white male, mid-60s, balding, tall and thin, retired. Setting 1980s Minneapolis, an old, small, sparsely furnished apartment. Ben's apartment, an old TV, worn out couch, small table plus a kitchen table and 2 chairs. A large, elaborate bird cage and Jimmy inside it and on a small table. Ben and Mike are sprawled on the couch, dressed in jeans and t-shirts, holding cans of beers as they chat.
That was a nice funeral last month. A real good Irish wake with lots of booze. I miss Pat. 40 years went by fast. He was a smart guy organizing those little robbery jobs at small stores. Amazing we never got caught. Made a little money and stayed under the radar of the cops.
Yeah. Who would have expected his ticker to go so suddenly? Hey, weren't we going to get together for lunch next week? He said he had something to tell us. I wonder what it was. Now we'll never know.
I thought he might tell us where he hid that $15,000 from us after that last job 6 months ago. I guess he was just waiting for things to cool down before he gave us our share of the money. After the funeral, when they read the will, and the lawyer plopped the bird and the cage in my lap, I wondered why he willed me a pet bird. Got him a bit of the money for his best friend. He should have told us where he hid all that money. Oh no, instead I get this feathered, chatty minor bird named Jimmy in a fancy gilded cage. Why would such a plain black bird get a cage that must have cost a mint? What a strange pet for an Irish guy. Even stranger, he told me he bought the bird from a pet shop in Quebec. What was he doing in Quebec anyway?
Poor Jimmy. He's so pretty. Jimmy wants a grape. Meow. Idiot trouble in Quebec.
I think that means there is trouble in Quebec. Pat told me that he talked to Jimmy all the time. Jimmy even imitates lines he hears on TV. Most of what he says doesn't always make much sense, though.
All this chatter is getting to be very annoying. He asks for grapes, but after he eats the grapes, he gets more talking.
Jimmy wants a grape.
For God's sake, here we go again. Here's a grape.
Does he ever shut up?
Only at night, if his cage is covered. I'm about ready to find a pet shop that might buy him back.
Jimmy wants a grape. I've got the secret. Want to know it? Want to know it?
Hey, maybe the bird knows where the money is.
Yeah. Then we would have to listen to everything he says. That could drive us nuts.
Or ask the right questions so the bird will tell us what he knows. Where's the money hidden, Jimmy?
Where's the wedding veil now? See the next Hallmark movie to find out. Jimmy wants a grape.
There he goes again.
Where's the gun? Who's got the gun? Who's got the gun?
Who's got the money?
Where's the money?
Those damn cigarettes!
Follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road.
Maybe that's a clue.
But our streets are gray. There are no yellow ones in this neighborhood.
42, 13, 66, 7.
Woo!
42, 13, 66, 7.
Woo! I know a safe combination when I hear one. Maybe this bird knows more than we think.
Where's the money hidden? Where's the money hidden? A locker? A safe? I've been to Pat's place so many times. He never had a safe. I searched the whole apartment after he died. Where could he have hidden it? Maybe the dough is in a locker somewhere.
Where do we find lockers?
Well, bus station? Let's go to the bus station near Pat's house. It should have lockers, right? Right, Birdie? Let's take the bird with us. Pat used to do that. He got a kick out of talking to the bird in public and the bird talking back. Maybe if he's there, he will give us more clues. Watch out! There's somebody watching us. We got to go somewhere else.
Monticello, next bus to Monticello.
Quick! Let's get on the bus and get out of here.
Thank goodness we have this bird. Let's have the bus to the Monticello bus station.
Scene 3, a rural one-room bus station.
There are no lockers here in Monticello in this so-called bus station. Now what?
Welcome to the Unreal Art exhibit at the Walker Art Center. Place your belongings in a locker before touring the exhibit.
Suppose now we have to go back to Minneapolis. I guess museums have lockers?
Scene 4, Minneapolis, Walker Center, Art Center Museum.
Here's a whole bunch of lockers. But which one?
I gotta go. I gotta go. Bird poop, bird poop.
Shh! Be quiet.
Hey. There's bird poop on this locker. Try to open it.
All right. 42, 13, 66, 7.
It's open! This bird's a keeper. There's nothing in there. Damn!
Do you think Pat took the money out?
Last laugh. I spent the money. Good joke.
Do you believe this bird?
Jimmy really wants a grape. Tell all.
I wonder how he spent the money. Hey, how much does a minor bird and a fancy cage cost?
Let's buy some grapes and find out.
Good joke. Want to know more? Jimmy wants a grape.
End of play. Thank you, Seth, Nayeli, and Steve. Thank you, Jeannie and Nancy. Lovely. Next place is Untethered Aging, written by Linda C. Giacomo. Young Old Me, played by Barbara, and Old Me, played by Steve.
Let's get out of this bird costume.
Intermission. Untethered Aging, a play in one act Written by Linda C. Giacomo. Young, old me, a me who is 70-year-old woman. Old me, a young old me, now at 108-year-old woman. Scene: a 7-year-old woman is sitting in a room on one of the two rocking chairs. She is staring at the other rocker as though someone is sitting in it, but the rocker is empty.
So close to my mouth. God. Okay. I just don't get it. I'm 70, a young old me, as I like to say. I've worked hard to reach my retirement, untethered from any self-imposed obstacles that could stop me from doing what I want, when I want, without financial or emotional constraints holding me back, living a life filled with joy on my own and with people dear to me. So why am I increasingly preoccupied with loss? A profound sadness growing larger as I age. Aren't my good times strong enough to win over the bad times of my aging, so that untethered aging is more of a joyful, positive than grief-filled experience? I picture myself at 101, the old version of me, and find myself calling out, "You must have answers by 101. I need your aging wisdom."
Old me enters a room, sits on the other rocker, carrying a photo book, which she places on her lap. She opens the book of photographs, stopping to look at one of the pictures.
Oh, so many good times. Oh, I love this one. It's me, tandem skydiving from 12,000 feet. The landing site a long distance away, just a few months after Mother died. I had decided to go on the tour by myself, without the support of a friend, with a group of strangers, to a place halfway across the world where even the stars were different. The embodiment of the very bizarre world in which I now found myself, one without my mother alive in it. Ironically, my grief was erased in this one death-defying, adrenaline-fueled, life-affirming leap as I plummeted towards the earth until the parachute opened and I gently floated down to the landing site, picturing my mother laughing as she saw the pure ecstasy on my face.
I remember that day. Mother was the parent who always encouraged me to embrace the joy of exploring the world. If I balked and became afraid, Mother insisted that I should never let fear get in the way of adventure. Major obstacle to joyful exploration was Father. Safety conscious to the point where his first word was no to any proposed adventure laden with even a hint of danger. Mother would tell Father, "Stop being a red light in front of happiness." I always understood and forgave Father his reluctance. He was a survivor of the attack on Pearl Harbor, courageously facing death as an anti-aircraft gunner, surviving, but then becoming Mr. Safety, teaching me a different set of skills to live, to use, to thrive in the world. Defensive driving. Just assume someone is going to run a red light. Life protection skills. You need to learn how to swim so you don't drown. It was also easy to forgive Father, as he always let Mother convince him to change his no into a yes. A testament to their love and to his adventurous and fearless youth. Before the devastating loss of his brothers in arms on that horrible day took Father's love of adventure away.
The dance of loss and joy continued as I aged. 2 years after Mother died, Father's congestive heart failure worsened, so much so that his doctor said Father had only 2 or 3 months to live. Preparing for the terrible loss of my last living parent, I chose to go to a spa, honoring my father who, far more than safety, loved life's benign pleasures, food being his favorite. Mr. I don't eat to live, I live to eat. Hell, I gained 5 pounds in 1 week at my stay at the spa. Even at the time, I understood my need to add layers of strength to cope with my father's death 2 months later.
I proved to myself that losses are only temporary obstacles, always overcome by a choice I modeled time and again after Father, who would proudly announce his choice to swim rather than sink under the weight of troubles. I felt joy return after sorrow and had my faith renewed again and again that loving others were always out there to find. I have even been able to make a new treasured close friend, one like a sister I never had at age 70, a rare and unexpected accomplishment of connection. My curiosity for life remains strong and driving force, always propelling me forward. So why am I becoming so sad at times? That I feel that I'm untethered and not in a freeing, life-affirming way.
It's quite simple, at least with the benefit of my more aged wisdom. The scale has begun to tip and not in your favor. You've started to experience more painful losses than joyful gains. Good friends have either moved away or are far less available, or they've remained but are losing their tolerance and empathy for divergent thinking and feeling, so much so that they circle their wagons around themselves, shutting you out, leaving you alone to seek out others who love difference as you do. More losses as people you care about have left you in other ways. A friend whose husband died unexpectedly in his early 60s, younger than predicted by his age or health status. 2 other friends who were expected to die from cancer lived life so joyously that you were shocked by their deaths. So many connections broken.
The saddest and most painful loss has been watching the husband of my dear friend, still alive, forgetting himself bit by bit, memory by memory, no longer able to remember most, if not all, of the treasured times he shared with his wife on their rambles through the life they've lived together for over 50 years. The blessing of his memory loss is that he doesn't realize or recall what he's missing. It's those of us who watch his disappearance and remember, especially his wife, who bear this ongoing, heartbreaking pain.
And then there is the loss of you. You're beginning to worry more about your own aging with growing health concerns. Glaucoma, which could eventually take your sight away. That slightly enlarged aorta that could burst one day. Short-term memory not as good as it once was. You're wondering if any connections will remain to take care of you when you're no longer able to take care of yourself. Most alarming is you're also starting to realize that all of these losses will only accelerate as you age into old me.
As old me shares her more receptive view of my struggles, I am submerged in the pain of a powerful image. I am floating above the earth, linked by a very thin tether, and feeling such a profound sadness, it's almost unbearable. I know I asked for answers, but now I feel the overwhelming dark side of being untethered, the accelerating loss of life-sustaining connections as I age. Is there no remedy for these losses? My optimistic, quite talented, no problem is too large to solve self springs to life. I can always be lucky and have enough old friends who survive, even just one, or make more new friends. Maybe a medical breakthrough will occur, erasing the possibility of memory loss, or erase my aging body part problems. I can find kind strangers to take care of me if I need them. What if there isn't enough joyful connection? Or too much physical pain? No miracles or breakthroughs? Does my last tether break? What happens to me then? You have to know at least more than I do, and hopefully much more. Old me at 101, so close to death, you can reach out and touch it.
Very true. At 101, I'm likely as close to death as anyone alive can be. The wisdom I have to share is in what happens next. With no time to waste, I get on a plane, go to Alaska and head for the sea. But for what purpose? My sadness has grown so large that I don't know if I could survive it anymore. Is there still hope for renewal, even at 101? I reached the shore, looking out at a sea filled with large pieces of ice floating on its surface. My eyes are drawn to a polar bear with cubs, resting on one of the ice floats, the sun setting over the water, illuminating their connection. My sadness gradually lifts and I find myself smiling. It's enough. I turn away from the sea with a renewed certainty that there will always be something in this world that's able to tip the scale of aging back to joy, even from the deepest sorrow. I see myself in bed sometimes, hours, days, weeks, months, years later, closing my eyes for the final time, joyfully untethered. Suddenly, this reality melts away. I'm at sea again, a large piece of ice floating near the shore. I take a small jump onto the ice, propelling it away from the shore up to sea. I lie down, close my eyes as the ice slowly floats me towards the horizon, choosing, like an Inuit elder, this gentle way of bringing about the end of my too painful life. I'm relieved and at peace as I pass through the horizon, out of sight, embracing my final untethering from existence.
Old me gets up from the rocking chair and leaves the room.
Come back. You can't leave me with two endings. You have to tell me which choice I made. Never returning. The only answer old me leaves me with is silence.
End of play.
Thank you, Barbara and Steve. Thank you, Linda. Right, our final piece is called an autobiographical monologue, a turning point that saved my life in Northern California in 1981 by Steve Spoen.
Autobiographical is right. This actually happened, and wasn't something that I had planned on, but sometimes changes in our lives happen and we need to face them. I know we haven't spoken in months, but after our phone call, things got way worse for me than I had anticipated. Just wanted to share with you what I was facing and the impact it had on me. I was able to find some odd jobs here and there to make a few bucks. And rather than trying to save money, I'd spend it on small amounts of food and alcohol. Oftentimes an acquaintance would provide me with cannabis, which was very prevalent in that area at that time. The combination of alcohol and cannabis was a proven euphoric high that led to the best sleep I could get given the many struggles I faced back then. One night the pot was extremely good and the alcohol was very smooth. As I drifted off to the land of Nod, I could hear the faint sound of rain hitting the windows. The rhythmic pattering was a comfort to me, even as a child. Didn't matter where I was. The sound provoked a childhood memory from when I was around 4 years old. That memory was of Dad's mom, Kate, who visited us one rainy day. It was time for my nap, but I didn't feel like sleeping. Grandma Kate walked me to my room, then proceeded to talk softly to me while she gently rubbed my back. As I was dozing off, she told me that anytime I wanted, I could simply think about her being with me and her stroking my back. Even as an adult, I'd oftentimes do that when there was a rainfall. As I laid there drifting in and out, I noticed there was lightning but no thunder. Lightning oftentimes got my attention, but only because of the anticipation of the wicked cracks of thunder that typically followed. Those sharp cracks could, at times, scare the crap out of me. The rain finally stopped, and I was enjoying the drifting in and out of consciousness. But despite no rain, the lightning continued, and the flashes seemed to be getting brighter. Eventually, I heard a muffled voice. I wanted to get up to look out the window, but struggled to get my bearings due to my combo of cannabis and alcohol. Just as I was dozing off came a very bright bolt of lightning, it seemed, quickly followed by a few very sharp cracks of thunder. I could swear I heard someone banging on my door, and I thought I could hear a neighbor upstairs stomping on their floor, my ceiling. As I laid there trying to get my bearings, the pounding, lightning, and now voices continued. The oddest of feelings came next as I felt what I thought was an earthquake. I'd never experienced the combination of rain, thunder, lightning, and earthquake all at the same time. That said, I knew from earthquake drills I had learned in California that I should get up and stand in a door frame. So I rubbed my eyes open to make a move. But as I sat up, I couldn't move because of all the clothing and boxes that were surrounding me. My mind struggled to make sense of it all. I nearly wet myself as I realized that I wasn't in that apartment, but in the back seat of my car where I was living. The lightning turned out to be police flashlights, and the thunder was the officers first banging on the windows, and then on the roof of the car. As I finally found a path to exit my two-door Buick, my head began to clear a bit, and I recognized one of the policemen. It was Terry Chang, someone I'd known for about 6 months, and I considered him a friend. Terry knew my car and where I lived. He also realized that I didn't belong in the parking lot for houseboat owners where I parked. It's hard to explain how I felt when Terry asked why I was there. Hundreds of feelings came up all at once. Shame, embarrassment, anger, helplessness. A plethora of emotions raced through my mind. Terry could see my deer in the headlights expression. He simply put his hand on my shoulder, told me to relax, and to tell him what was going on for me so that he might be able to help. I hesitantly explained that I had been let go from my job 8 months prior, and then lost my apartment 2 months after that. Terry's partner asked about all the belongings that were in my car. To hide my shame and embarrassment, I told him I had been on my way to a friend's place in San Francisco to store some of my things and that I'd be staying there for a while. I went on to say that on my way, I'd gotten very sleepy and pulled over to rest. Terry asked his partner to go to their squad car to report that they had the situation under control. Terry then told me he could smell alcohol in my breath and said I needed to sleep it off before heading to San Francisco. He had stopped only because he recognized my car and wondered if I might be having trouble. I thanked him for not writing me up for DUI and assured him I would get the needed rest before moving on. I never told Terry that I had lied to him. There was no friend in San Francisco putting me up. I was simply too embarrassed to let him know that I was homeless, jobless. I had no friends in San Francisco, and the friends I had in San Rafael didn't know about my predicament. I didn't consider it a point of pride to share with others. That said, the one thing I knew in that moment was this: I absolutely needed to find a way to get my act together and rise up from the destructive path I was on, or I wasn't going to survive.
And all play.
Another warm, beautiful applause. We just became witness to these stories. Thank them with whatever capacity that you can. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Nora.
Share the love with everybody. Yes, another one. We will have some little snacks and some treats, so please go and enjoy, mingle.